Did you know that in this world bad deeds do not go unpunished? Lynda Randle's children just made an announcement that has caused a shock in all the media. Everyone is talking about it, but no one knows the truth. What exactly happened to her, and what does it mean for her career and future? Stay tuned as we find out the details of this heartbreaking news. Recently, there has been an increasing buzz surrounding Lynda Randle's health, with rumors swirling around her sudden absence from a stage and public events. As one of the most beloved gospel singers, Lynda has been a consistent presence in the music and television worlds for decades. When she began to appear less frequently in recent months, fans naturally became concerned. The whisper started when her usual performances and television appearances slowed down, and people began speculating that something might be wrong. The speculation quickly intensified when Lynda, who had previously been known for her high-energy performances and tireless dedication to her ministry, stopped posting regularly on social media. Fans who had followed her for years began to notice a shift, and this only fueled the growing questions. Some of her followers began wondering if Lynda's absence was due to personal matters, while others started to worry about her health. The rumors ranged from mild concerns about stress or exhaustion to more serious fears about a life-threatening illness. Social media posts started circulating, some suggesting she was battling an undisclosed condition, while others wondered if the pressure of being a public figure was finally taking its toll. Lynda had always been known for her unwavering faith, but now there were questions about how she was truly doing behind the scenes. Despite the growing curiosity, Lynda and her team remained tight-lipped about the specifics. She was known for being a private person, and it became clear that her health was a deeply personal matter. But with fans and the public eager for answers, the silence only added to the mystery, with some speculating about the severity of her condition. The truth, however, was that Lynda's absence was not due to a minor health scare. It was much more serious. And as the rumors grew, her fans anxiously awaited news about what was really going on with their beloved gospel star. But I'm just here. I went to a Christian school in Washington, D.C., actually in the Maryland area, and I was kind of thrust into an all-white choir, and I was like the only chocolate kid in this choir, and they were singing these spirituals and songs, and one thing led to another, and they asked me to sing, and after a series off on my college days at Liberty University, I kind of hooked up with you guys. The Lord put us together, and I guess when you hang out with the gathered folks, Bill, He can get you doing anything. Things you thought you never would do. I would have never dreamed. As a matter of fact, I still didn't consider myself Southern Gospel per se. Lynda Randle's health had always been a quiet concern for those closest to her. But nothing could have prepared her fans for the shocking news that would change everything. For years, she had performed tirelessly, giving her alto every song, every concert, every appearance. Her faith, dedication, and unwavering commitment to her ministry had been the driving forces behind her success. However, in recent months, Lynda had been feeling an unusual fatigue, one that couldn't be explained by her usual hectic schedule. At first, she brushed it off, thinking it was just a result of working too hard. But as the weeks went by, the exhaustion didn't subside. Something was wrong, and it was something more serious than she had initially thought. One day, after experiencing unexplained shortness of breath and chest pain, Lynda finally made the decision to seek medical help. She had always been someone who took care of her health, but this time she could ignore the warning signs. After a series of tests, the results were more alarming than she had anticipated. Lynda was diagnosed with a severe heart condition that had been developing over time, something that could no longer be ignored. The doctors were clear. She had to make immediate changes to her lifestyle, including drastically reducing her workload and taking time away from the stage to focus on her health. The news was devastating for Lynda. For someone who had built her life around singing, ministering, and connecting with her fans, the thought of stepping away from the stage was unimaginable. She had dedicated decades to her career, and the thought of walking away from it all felt like an impossible decision to make. But her health was her number 1 priority. Now, she had a family to take care of, and she needed to ensure that she would bear down for them for years to come. Lynda didn't want to let her fans down, but she knew that if she didn't take a step back, her health could deteriorate to the point where she wouldn't be able to perform at all. After much prayer, soul-searching, and discussions with her family, she made the decision to step away from her busy schedule and take the time she needed to heal. It wasn't an easy choice. Lynda had always been someone who pushed through difficult circumstances, never one to back down from a challenge. But this was different. This time, the challenge was to save her own life. The news of Lynda's diagnosis and her decision to step away was met with shock and concern from her fans. Many of them had grown up listening to her music and had followed her career for years. They loved her not just for her incredible talent, but for her heart, her spirit, and her unwavering faith. Fans flooded her social media accounts with messages of love, support, and prayers, hoping for a quick recovery. Lynda, always the optimist, shared a heartfelt message with her followers, thanking them for their support and assuring them that she was going to take the necessary steps to get better. As the days passed, Lynda began to focus on her health. She followed her doctor's orders and made lifestyle changes, including regular exercise, a healthier diet, and rest. It wasn't easy, especially when she was used to being on the go, but she knew it was necessary. Lynda also found comfort in her faith. She spent time in prayer, trusting that God would guide her through this difficult season. She leaned on her family and close friends for support, grateful for their encouragement during this challenging time. During this period of healing, Lynda also took time to reflect on her career and the impact it had on her life. She had always been passionate about her ministry, about using her voice to inspire and uplift others. As she took time away from performing, she realized just how much she had given to her work. And she also realized that there was more to life than just being in the stage. She cherished the time she had with her family, reconnecting with them in ways she hadn't been able to before. It was a reminder that family was the foundation of everything, and without their love and support, none of her success would have mattered. Although the decision to step away from her career was a difficult one, Lynda found peace in knowing that it was the right choice for her health. She understood that her fans loved her not just for her music, but for the person she was. And while she couldn't predict what the future held, she knew that her journey wasn't over. She was determined to come back stronger, more focused, and more grateful than ever before. As the months went by, Lynda's health slowly improved. Her heart condition was managed with medication and lifestyle changes, and she began to regain her strength, offering encouragement to those who were going through their own struggles. Her transparency and vulnerability resonated with so many people, and she became an even greater source of inspiration for others who faced their own health challenges. When Lynda eventually returned to performing, it was clear that she was a different person, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Her time away had given her the opportunity to heal, reflect, and grow. She had a renewed sense of purpose and was more determined than ever to use her platform to inspire and uplift others. Lynda's story of overcoming health struggles and making the difficult decision to step away from her career is a testament to her strength and resilience. It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to make choices that prioritize our well-being. And while Lynda may have stepped away from the stage for a time, she's proven that her impact is far greater than just her performances. Her legacy continues to inspire others, and her journey is far from over. Lynda Randle's health crisis had a profound impact not only on her but also on her family, who had always been her biggest supporters. When the diagnosis came, it shook everyone close to her. For years, Lynda had been the strong, dependable rock in the family, and the thought of her being unwell was difficult to fathom. She had always been the one to lead by example, showing strength in times of adversity, and her family had relied on her unwavering faith and determination. So, when Lynda began to show signs of something serious, the concern was immediate. Her husband, family members, and children were the first to notice that something wasn't right. They had always known Lynda to be a hard-working, passionate, and vibrant woman. But over the last few months, there was a noticeable shift in her energy. She wasn't the same. At first, it seemed like she was simply tired, maybe a little worn out from the constant travel and performing. But as time passed, the fatigue deepened and her breathing became more labored. She began missing church events, which was unusual for her. Her family, particularly her children, who had seen their mother perform with such grace for so many years, began to get worried. Her children had been raised in a home where music and faith were central. They had seen their mother dedicate her life to her ministry, using her voice to touch countless lives. So when the news about her health came, it wasn't just a personal blow to her. It affected everyone who had been part of her journey. Her kids, who were accustomed to their mom's energy and constant presence, found it difficult to adjust to the idea of her not being able to perform. Lynda's husband, knowing how much music meant to his wife, was one of the first to offer support. Understood the pressure Lynda often placed on herself to give 100% to everything she did. He could see the toll it was taking on her both mentally and physically, but he also knew that Lynda wasn't someone who would easily step back. He had watched her pour everything into her career and ministry for years, and the thought of her walking away from it was something that took some time to come to terms with. Lynda's decision to step away from the stage was not made lightly. She had always placed her ministry first, and the thought of taking time for herself, let alone slowing down, seemed out of character, but her family was there for her every step of the way. They rallied around her in ways that only a tight-knit family could. They assured her that it was okay to take a break to focus on her health, and that her ministry would still be strong without her performing constantly. Her children, who were now grown, expressed how much they admired their mother's courage in prioritizing her health. It was a tough pill to swallow, but they understood that this was what was needed in order to ensure that she could live a long and healthy life. Lynda was incredibly grateful for the support from her family, but even more so, she found comfort in her faith. Through everything, her belief in God was unwavering. She knew that she wasn't alone in this, and that gave her the strength to move forward. Still, it was hard for Lynda to adjust to a new way of living. For years, she had been known for her strength and her ability to balance her work, family, and faith. Now, she was forced to rely on others and on her own faith to guide her through this difficult period. When Lynda finally spoke publicly about her diagnosis, it was with grace and humility. She expressed how difficult it had been for her to accept the fact that she couldn't continue with her normal routine. She acknowledged the support she had received from her family and fans, and how much it meant to her to have people who cared about her well-being. But perhaps most importantly, she spoke about the lessons she had learned through the process. Lynda talked about how this experience had forced her to slow down, to reflect, and to take stock of what was truly important in her life. She was open about how much she had taken for granted in the past, the energy, the health, the ability to perform at her best. She admitted that she had always pushed herself harder than was perhaps healthy, but that she had done so out of a love for her ministry and for her fans. Yet in her time of need, she realized that she couldn't do it all on her own. She had to ask for help, and that was a humbling experience for someone who had always been so independent. Her words resonated deeply with her fans, many of whom had followed her for years and had been inspired by her music and her story. Lynda's message was one of hope and strength. She reassured her followers that while her health had caused her to step back temporarily, it didn't mean the end of her ministry. She shared that she had a renewed sense of purpose, and would still be involved in her ministry in ways that didn't require her to perform on stage. Her family continued to be by her side throughout her recovery.